Today is Ankylosaurus.
I remember him.
And I am going to pin my video so that the recording keeps online. And grab a piece of paper for some warm-ups. And a pencil. I'll use my mechanical pencil. I haven't used that one in a while. So just to review a couple of forms we'll be using in Ankylosaurus. He's got a weird wedge-shaped head. Whoa, focus. There we go. So he's got a big, broad head that is short, kind of trapezoid-ish. For those of you who like to start with a circle, you can start with a circle and then just add on some triangular cheeks. And then the nose portion is going to be smaller, narrower. I'm just going to link that right back up into the head shape. And in this particular pose, I have the mouth open. You don't have to have it open if you don't want, but if you do, we'll just bring another shape downward, and remembering that it gets narrower at the nose, it will also get narrower as we get down to the end of the mouth here. Many artists like to put this little beak on Ankylosaurus. They'll separate this out, sort of a parrot-like beak right on there, and on the lower jaw as well. This part will be beak. And then to get this to join up with this, I'm going to add on some volume and smooth that out down there. On the other side too, we'll see some going out that way. Then for the eyes, they're near the top of the head. And I'm doing my same little diagonal oval eyes that I've been doing for most of my dinosaurs, but if you want to try out a new eye style, go for it. I'll clean up the inside of my shapes a bit. And I'm going to start placing some of these big spikes. The first two, I just kind of think of cat ears, wherever cat ears would be. Put those there. Then there's two more, a little bit lower, kind of right at where the jaw connects.
Hey.
Which doesn't make much sense. I might have to go and double check that, but it's definitely lower than those first two. The one on the other side you might not be able to see. That's kind of up to your judgment whether or not you'll see a little bit of that other spike on the other side. And then each spike is going to have that little bump of skin like we've done before. Right at the base where this spike is going to connect into the body. And on our side horns as well. Oops. That's why I usually don't use a mechanical pencil. Always breaking my lead. And Ankylosaurus has this sort of flattened oval shape as a body. I'm just going to draw it down here so I can work on my shape and not worry about making a nice drawing. Doing the body study down here. And the body has basically three sections. There's going to be the side, then the belly, and then the back that has all of those plates on it. So I'm going to divide it up, thinking about the contour, how it's rounded. So I'll have one division line curving up, the other division line for the belly curving down. And then for the contour that wraps around the belly, that also needs to curve right around. So I'm curving my lines this way. To help us place all of these like back stones, back plates, I'll also be using some guidelines that curve around the top, so we can practice curving those right around the top. Thicker stripes than the belly. And then within each of these stripes or bands, there's 3 of these, not actually spikes, not actually plates, they look more like rocks to me. But there's 3 of them, and because it's wrapping around, that last one is going to be overlapped a lot, and only a tiny bit is going to be poking out. As we go along the back, they're going to get bigger, particularly right on top. These will start looking a little bit more like plates. And then they'll get small again. And they don't have to be in perfect lines. Some of them can be a little bit wonky. And remember, those ones on the opposite side are going to be pitched a little bit forward, and they will be overlapped by that center one. And then an option for you, I didn't do it on my first demonstration, but some of the Ankylosaurs in some artist depictions have a row of these long protective spines that come out along the sides. So if this looks cool and you want to add it to your dinosaur, go ahead. We're just following those same stripes that we already made and making this like border of spines that comes out. You might see some on the other side too, a little tip. And then we'll look at the iconic tail of the Ankylosaurus. I went for more of a whale tail on this one. There's lots of different variations on the tail out there, so if you want to do a different tail than mine, that's fine. I'm going to start with the basic tail shape first. Kind of up in the air there. Do a couple variations. One of them has 2 kind of spherical structures on either side. It kind of looks like a walnut.
That's the only one I've seen.
Clamped onto the tail. There's one like that. There's another variation where it looks like the tail is holding on to kind of a rod, a little bit more similar to these types of spikes that come out. That's where I got my whale tail one from, but originally they look a little more thin. And there's another type that uses the shapes that we have on the back kind of in rows to make a sort of mace type tail. So we have our tail coming up there. And I'll put on a general oval to guide me. But this oval, kind of like what we're doing with the body here, we'd have our contour lines separating it out, and then we'd have those plates sticking out and around. A couple artists do it this way too. The problem with Ankylosaurus, as far as I know, I had to do a paper on it for my dinosaur class, is that there aren't that many complete skeletons that have been discovered. So a lot of them are missing their tails, and they can't quite figure out if these different tails all belong to the same species, maybe not. It's kind of hard to tell. So we get to take some artistic liberties with what kind of tail we want to do. So there's our practice sheet. You can keep it handy. But we're going to go ahead and go to a new piece of paper and start drawing our actual Ankylosaurus. Is your microphone working, Mickey?
Oh yeah. I mean, I
It's very
assume it
quiet
is. I
today.
can't hear it.
If it is, we cannot hear you. If you're speaking right now, we cannot hear you, just so you know.
Okay.
I'm going to start with my basic gesture of kind of a play bow with the front legs crouching down and the other one's
Can
extended.
you hear me now?
I'll draw my body shape at a diagonal, that flattened oval. Try to get them both on camera here. Excuse my messy desk. There we go, that's a little better. So we've got our body here, and we're going to add on the head, just like we did before, starting with those basic shapes. I'm going to keep it low, actually lower than that. Oh, a message in the chat. Oh, just going to try to restart. Okay. And just like we did before, I'll add that beaky section in front and connect it right back up to my shape. Trying to keep it pretty short so that it looks young and cute. Oops, I'm going to let Mickey back in.
Hey, can you hear me now?
And then if you want the mouth open, we're going to add that
Hello?
secondary shape right below.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Narrow at the tip.
Can Betsy hear me?
I don't think so.
Can Betsy hear you?
Can Betsy hear me?
Yeah?
I don't know.
Tip is also more like a beak.
Okay.
And then I'll connect the rest right back up into the cheeks. I'll put my little nostril right there, a little watermelon seed type shape, and a little bump right above. Mickey, no, I cannot hear you. Is your mic muted or something? Maybe it's my computer. Let me double check my volume. You can hear? Okay. Is it mine? Oh, might be my speakers. I put them up to 100%.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, yeah, because that freaked me out.
Yeah, I had no idea that my volume was turned way low. So if you were saying anything, Frank, I'm sorry. I wasn't ignoring you. I just did not hear you. Eyeball. I'm going to put it pretty close to the top of the head. Actually, I'm going to shorten my head a little bit. I think this has gotten too tall. Don't be afraid to adjust your drawings as you go. I'm going to stick his eye near the top of his head on a diagonal there. Leave a little white for the shine. And I'll place some spikes just like cat ears. I'll put one on the side of the face. With that little rim of flesh. And then from the back of the jaw here, I'll add just a little bit of a neck to flow right into the body. And for legs, back out a little bit here. So these legs basically have three parts. We have that upper part, we have the lower part, and then we have the toes. Digigrade animals. I'm going to start with kind of a big upside down raindrop. A little more pointy on one end, a little rounder on the other end. And I'll bring that elbow forward. And as long as the feet are below the chin, that's fine. Put on a little foot there, a little hoof, and then come back up. There's my basic shape for one leg. And on the other side, it'll look the best if it's placed a little bit higher on the paper than your first dragon leg, or not dragon. We draw dragons a lot, but not today, dinosaurs. Dinosaur foot. Placement helping us express that things higher on the paper are farther away. Lower on the paper, they're closer. And then with the back leg, we've got another 3 parts. We've got the big thigh there. We have something that's kind of like a human calf and shin. And then we've got our big dinosaur foot. So I'm going to start way up near the back. Bring that leg out and forward, kind of the shape of a baby carrot. Just slightly thinner at the knee. And then I'll curve it slightly inward. And on the other side, I'll have that bulge of muscle, ankle, and then I'm going to give another simple shape, getting wider as it comes in contact with the ground. And that 4th leg way in the back is going to be higher than this foot and probably also overlapped by this front leg, but I might see just a little bit poking out. Maybe right there. If it's too difficult to squeeze in, you can just leave it out and it will be assumed that something else is covering it. And then for the tail. Again, you can use a different style of tail if you like. I'm going to start with a little reverse curve here. Little S curve. I'm going to keep the tail fairly short and stubby just to make it look like it's young and cute. If you want to make your dinosaur look a little older, that's fine too. Make it longer and thinner. And you can choose the tail tip that you like best. I think I'm going to go for that walnut shell one this time. And then down to the toes. We've got 4 little toes on each foot. There's probably a dew claw in there somewhere on the real animal, but I'm not going to worry about it for my drawing. I'm just going to make my little shape for a toe claw and then put a bump of skin right over it. Whoops, I'm not on camera. Let's back up a little. There we go. And repeat that 3 more times, the 2 toes in the middle being the biggest. Make that one a little bigger. That one a little bigger. The last one is going to be overlapped the most, meaning we can see the least of that toe. Same thing on the front foot. I'm going to put a little ice cream cone shape or sideways raindrop shape, rounded on one side, more pointy on another. And then a little curve to show that bump of skin or flesh. And repeat 3 more times. Biggest toes in the middle. And that last one is so overlapped, can barely see anything of it. If you want to show a couple of tendons for each toe, you can draw a couple of lines leading from the toes up into the ankle or the wrist, depending on which limb you're working on. And then the fun part, these plates, these scales or armor plates. To me, they're not plates because they're not thin like a Stegosaurus, but I don't know what else to call them because they're kind of rocky looking. Why my lighting is so bad today? Oh, up there. So we've got a couple on this forelimb right here. Plot out one right there. And a smaller one below that. And just like we did in practice, I'm going to set up my guidelines, putting the one at the top to curve right over the legs and go all the way down the tail. And the belly line, I'm not going to see as much of that. And very lightly, because I know I'm going to erase it later, I'm going to give myself some guidelines curving right over the back. Super, super light. Right down into the neck. And I'll start placing some of these armor plates right on the edge of my guideline. Remembering that they're getting bigger right in the middle and then they're getting smaller again as they go down to the tail. And the middle ones are going to be a little bit bigger than the ones on the sides. And also get larger as they get toward the center of the back. The thoracic dorsal side, if you want to be scientific-y about it. And we'll go all the way down. And then for the ones on the other side, they are going to come slightly forward because as we follow this guideline around, we can see it curves to the front a little bit, but they will be pitched a little bit more forward. By the time I get to the tail, probably can't see them because they're so small. We'll lose sight of them as the body turns away from us. And then if you want to, you can add that borderline longer spikes coming out. That's up to you. And once you like the look of your dinosaur, if you want to add something for him to play with, I put in a basketball. I don't know if that's to scale or not, but you can choose pretty much any ball you want. Or you might have him getting excited about some food and nice salads. But I thought a ball would be a nice, easy way to show that he's ready to play. Maybe this one will be just a striped ball. Theoretical colors for Ankylosaurus, not that impressive. Most of them just color him one color. I had to look for a while before I found one that did at least 3 colors. But since it's cartooning dinosaurs, you can use as many colors as you want. Artistic license. Before I ink, I'm going to roll my kneading eraser over my drawing to get rid of some extra graphite. If you don't have one of these erasers, you can kind of carefully do the same process with a regular eraser. You just have to erase lightly so you don't erase your drawing completely. It is a lot smudgier with a regular eraser though. One of your dogs come to see you?
Yep.
Just about 10 minutes left.
You know what? A while ago, I was trying to like search on perspective, stuff for references, but all of the perspective stuff is all backgrounds, and I can't find anything that has to do with a person.
Usually you have to look up foreshortening for a person.
Or shortening.
Yeah, rather than perspective. Because, yeah, perspective usually does mean backgrounds.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah, try that.
How do you spell four and foreshortening?
Click the Gulf, F-O-R-E.
F-O-R-E. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Reminds me of that time when I tried to search up dessert-themed clothing and got little to nothing.
Yeah.
Like just something like so obvious you think you'd get like a bunch of stuff, and there's a bunch of stuff like that exists out there, but then like just Google does not help whatsoever.
The worst is when I'm trying to look up like how to draw a sword or how to draw a gun, but to draw your weapon means to just like take it out of its sheath or take it out of its holster. So all you get are these tutorials on like gun safety or how to pull out your sword like a real knight. I'm like, no, I'm trying to draw here.
Oh yeah.
Google, you should know by now. I just draw things.
Okay, yeah, that brought me some good resources, thank you.
You're welcome. There's a really great one on Pinterest that I see a lot too, where somebody actually put like duct tape in like a grid pattern all over their arm, and then they have pictures of it as it raises toward you.
I think I saw that.
Yeah, that one I thought looked pretty hopeful. Oh, my greens kind of look the same. That's disappointing. Well, let's come back with your blue green. Give them a little nail polish.
I didn't find anything with duct tape, but a lot of people just like drawing on their arms.
Oh yeah, that seems like it would be less painful to remove than duct tape.
Oh yeah, one of these really cool tutorials is like where someone like just draws over their hand for like for that purpose.
Out of studied perspective. Actually, I should say contour because a lot of times those grids are more for contour than they are for perspective.
Yeah, it's less of like perspective and more of just like drawing the pieces, different pieces of hand.
Yeah. Art's hard like that to describe.
Yeah.